Alright, we're back out here. Got my sunglasses on. One of the pair. I don't know how I ended up with these in the glove box, but I did. Did you ever do that? I just bought another pair of sunglasses not so long ago. I thought I only had one other pair, and somehow I had these too. I found them in the glove box the other day. Yesterday, I think it was. So, check this out. Here in the parking lot, I'm going to get one more angle. I had to go use a restroom. Because of the domination of ignorance in our country, I was never taught properly. These are things I had to learn as you go through a lot of miserable circumstances. One of them is the male and female thing. Why won't somebody in the Christian community who has a penis show me that you can look fucking hotter in a bundle of love and sex appeal when you clothe yourself appropriately to your thoughts than all the fucking goddamn long lines of fucking penises around the world who have their fucking hair all cut up with a suit and tie on? Because that's a sinful nature. That's the sin. They claim that which is good for you. That's a sinful nature, huh? It's not right. God says in the Bible that it is wrong for what? Is it for a male to wear female's clothing? Okay, now what is God? Do we get into words at some point? Does the Bible say anything about we are the body or we're not the body? Oh, so mysterious leads us to psychological addressing. Man, the one thing is, I would tell whoever's watching this, you might doubt it. If you have time, make time. Read the Bible. Let it soak in. Don't just form your opinion. Keep on asking God. Reveal more of this truth to me. I want to know it. And let me tell you something. You feel like a psychopath when you go talk to other people, especially those who read the Bible. They're always sticking to the same thing. Minister to other people. Minister to other people. Well, don't you have to start with yourself at some point? God started with God's self before another human being came into the picture, and God started with that one human being before another human being, or so we think, came into the picture. It might have been one person. God might have been in one human being, and therefore the rib of the thought process ended up being a female. God made them both. God made them both. But what is God? Where does God start at? Come on. Did anybody read the beginning? They want to stick to the New Testament because they're scared to death of rehashing the fact that in the beginning, God was Word and Word was God. Or was it that Word was God and the reverse? When God looks in the mirror, does it see the name Word? Does it see W-O-R-D? What are those not identical twins, but they're called something else? Some people say, no, God sees dog on my cell phone because it's reversed in the camera. Because you ain't gonna believe this, but when I had my dog Riggs, I heard a voice tell me in my thought process, see your dog as God. Unconditional love. Have a relationship with that for a while. I was very fortunate. My dog was very loving. So there had to be a large portion of loving God in it. Thank goodness, because I understand that some dogs are not so loving for whatever reason, okay? And I love areas like this. So this was really cool. And look what we have here. Whole family. I wonder why there isn't some psychopath screaming and calling the cops saying that they don't belong here. By the way, look at all this litter over here. What do you think of this? You got all these geese. And then look down here at all the litter. That's Dayton, Ohio typical for you. Evidently, they do not care about their waterways at all. Maybe instead of the cops framing people, they should be over here picking up trash. Why don't they volunteer for their community? You know, you love cops that are for life and they keep us safe, don't you? Everybody does, thank you. I'm talking about the ones who are making all cops look like assholes because of their corrupted ways of approach of going about things. Okay, much different than I was taught and I experienced through my childhood years, as the world would call it, because I feel like I'm still a child. When a cop approaches me, they don't see child, do they? They see whatever they see in their eyes, which is usually not in alignment with the truth. They see love. They see childlike mentality like I've been diagnosed with. When you see the average American 10 or 11-year-old child, does it appear as though they could take care of themselves, or do you think that they need to have parents or somebody, a guardian, to take care of them? I know what you're gonna say. There's some children that could take care of many multitudes of people. They're millionaires. While there's masses of them that are dependent on others. Please help. What happens when we get into God and we get into psychology and we realize that somebody took the Bible serious and became a child of God, which is very childlike, and they can't take care of themselves? Why? Because they're here to serve God with their life, not man's intuition, is it? Their screwed up idea of life? Politicians, you should be all interviewed before taking the position that you have to make sure that you're sanely available for us to make choices beneficial for life, not masses of people. Masses of people are screwed up in the head. Masses of people left God out of everything. This message should be played in DC. It should be mandatory that they listen to it. There's something here for you. I'm hoping someday that I can go to the supremest supreme in this country, all known in advance that I'm not going to be able to appear to stay calm and rational. Pretty much when I tell them, a majority of you, if not all of you, are all assholes. Why don't you get somebody over here and clean this shit up? Look at this. Hey, Tracilyn, there's no reason to be without a job. Look at all this trash over here. Why don't you make the government give you fundage that you could supervising a cleanup of their waterways, because they're pathetic out here at Dayton, Ohio living. Trash all over the roadways, did you see it? Why is that? Why do you think that is? Oh, check this out. There's an egg, and I was just saying that the other day. There's 2 of them. Is that a goose egg? Oh my God. Is that a dinosaur egg? Look at that. I never seen one in my life. Is that what it is? Please leave a comment down below. You don't get it. I don't understand, is it? Is that a goose egg? If it is, I've never seen one of those before, but I was just talking about eggs the other day. What was I saying? Nanu Nanu? I used to like Mark from work. You know, he's a funny guy. And, you know, look at the wiffle ball back there. Look at all this trash. There's life here being born, if that is an egg. Okay? I'm not gonna hurt it. Some people might take that home and eat it. Some people may be cruel to it and destroy it. I will not do either. Number one, thank goodness I have food, and I'm grateful because why? When I first got my food card in Ohio, they only put $15 on it a month. I think it was like $13, $14, or $15. I kept everything at home. Why? Because that's part of my testimony about the ignorance in our country. I want to see you, yes you, go to any grocery store in the world. Well, in America, because that's where we live. Because you probably could find it. You know, go to a grocery store in America, in the area, Dayton, Ohio, that's where I live. Go there with $15 a month and feed yourself. I said this before, I would love to go to DC, and I'd like to adjust their income for food specifically. How much do you think they pay for food when they have something going on at the White House? Exceptional. Who's paying for it? Why isn't somebody going into DC with their glasses on like this? You're not going to be able to do this here anymore. It's wasting taxpayers' money. You must feed yourself with the income that you've been given. And why don't we lower their income instead of raising it all the time? You think that's part of the deflation of the human race ending up in LA on the sandy beaches? Sure. They're important. I think I'm important. And personally, I think I'm more important than anybody in DC with my message of Jesus Christ, hope, the Bible. Because I'm the explanation, right? I'm the explanation, I'm the definition, I am the answer as to a large portion of pain and suffering. Do you think anybody ever reported this in? I feel like painting myself up like an Indian and kneeling down with a tear in my eyes. You know, like we used to see in the commercial? How does this stuff end up? Oh, look at this. I love beer distributors. Look at this. Look at this. Hey, brought to you by Bud Ice. What's this one over there? Let's check it out. You tell me. What is that? I never saw it. There's a small whiskey bottle or something. Hey, Bud Ice. Why don't you come over here and pick up your fucking trash? It has your name on it. You should be responsible to pick it up. Are you educating people what to do with the cans? Why don't they send them back to your distributor? I remember I used to do that. So don't tell me. Let me tell you that again. Don't tell me. I used to do that. We used to save, was it our bottles? Was it our cans? We would smash them and we'd take them back to the distributor. My mom would let me exchange them and get candy and stuff. My little cherry fishies. Swisher Sweets, you remember those? Yeah, that's how I could afford my candy habit. There's a baseball over here. Look at that. There's all kinds of things over here. You think any of these animals could choke on it? What do you think they think about it? Well, we have to make do with what we got. It's Dayton, Ohio. Now you can understand why I was at the mercy of God, that there has to be much more than this. I was hoping to live in a gorgeous atmosphere, and I can go down by the water and, hey, can I tell you something? Look at this around here. Okay? Look at the grass. Look at the water. Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking bring out a beach blanket. Man, the sun's out. I got my shades on. Get some lotion. Oh man, that would be great. I'm gonna lay out and get a suntan. How long do you think it would be before an officer would pull up here and tell me that I can't do that? Well, hold on. Maybe, come on, is there any other fun people in the world that would do this with me? Why don't we get together this month? Or bring our beach blankets? Wear a thong. Swimsuit. Your choice. Let's bring a few of us over, and if we can flirt with some very powerful, strong bodybuilders, maybe a couple boxers or wrestlers, they could lay with us over here and keep us safe. While the femme energy, doesn't matter if you have a penis or not, your femme energy, you're gonna need protection. Why? Because a cop's gonna come up, he's gonna ask you, what are you doing over here? Why are you doing it? Is he gonna open up a ticket book and cite you for it? Well, if he cites me, the taxpayer's gotta pay for it. And you know what? There's somebody, do you think the geese would mind? Hey, we're all enjoying the water together. Wildlife and Tracilyn and people. We're enjoying the sun, the beautiful water view. My question is, why doesn't a cop just stand here and cite the next person that keeps throwing trash out their window? Why do cops bug people that are living their life and enjoying it versus people who are destroying the property in some way, if only by appearance? I'm sure there's other things going on here. And you know how I know that? Because I used to go to a landfill. That's right, and I used to talk to the people who worked there when I was this small. I was very small. I could barely pick up the garbage bag with 2 hands, and they'd tell me where to put it. And they explained to me, do you understand about landfills? And why people don't live directly on them for X amount of years? They sample the soil periodically. Do you know? See, I know about a lot. I was involved throughout my life and I paid attention. How does it make you feel? Do you care? Would you care more if I got a tan and dressed more like an Indian and had a tear in my eye and cried on camera? Would it affect you? Would it touch you? Would you get the point? I already talked about my littering experience and how I tried to make it right with that which I thought was paying attention to. I believe in the biblical studies, as you're speaking to God, God's speaking to you, and you're trying at least through the process to make things right in your own life. Saying sorry to God, saying sorry to mankind, saying sorry. Ask for forgiveness, please forgive me. You can't really make things right if his action's already been done. I want to make things right with you. And if you don't love me enough to forgive me, then nobody else is going to, most likely. You know what I think's really cool? Look over here. See that address? I see sevens. Oh, there's Coors Light. Isn't that great? Coors Light. Remember, this would look really nice with a waterfall, wouldn't it? I love to see it, developments and stuff like that, where they put something in it. I don't know if it's good or bad or not for the water, but you get to see it shooting up and stuff, and it's really pretty, you know? Something like a waterfall. I love that appearance, you know, and I love the sound. It's relaxing. I love to be by the water. And one of the things I find difficult for myself is if I find myself naturally doing the things that I would like to do without really knowing and not having to go out of my way with the limited income that I have because I'm doing other endeavors, I realize that I'm more of a nuisance than, or so it is, the universe is acting like I am, than I want to be. I see the river and I see opportunity to pretty much take off all my clothing and either go skinny dipping or at least relax by it and get some sun. Unfortunately, there's goose poop all over the place in Dayton, and it will show on you if you lay down, and your blankets, and your towels, and everything else. What do you think of that? Are we in there treading all over their property, or what's going on? So I kind of am starting to reflect back and remember looking at this at some point. I love beautiful scenery, and I would say that I'm not downing the atmosphere of Dayton, Ohio. I learned even when I first came out here, the mentality, okay, the dominant mentality. Not every single body, and not everybody all the time, that is. The mentality of this area. And I said once or twice, I don't like living on a railroad car that detached from the rest of the country. If that was a train. I don't like being the one who has to wait till everybody else makes decisions before the person who took a leadership position, like the governor, makes a decision on behalf of the better interest of the human race that they're supervising over, so to speak. I guess that's what you would say. If a man has to look to another man for a serious choice, there's a good chance that man didn't make it right with God. If he didn't make it right with God, it scares the shit out of people who have been trying to make it right with God, to come into acknowledging that. Community is very important. Praying about things, talking to your brothers and sisters, whether in Christ or just in the government, you know, talking to each other. I understand that. I'm not an idiot. Serious choice. Is the virus real or is the virus not real? I don't know for sure or not, but there seems to be people passing out. And if that's happening, it couldn't be something else that's causing it. It couldn't be direct electrocution to the brain, right? Shutting the body down. Maybe we're just robots. Maybe we're humanoids. Maybe we're something else and we have the opportunity to be a human for a small season of time. And that's why the Bible mentions that we are not the body and we will be given what? Anew? And I would have to say, especially in the transsexual community, you can really see this obvious. When you start making things right with God, you're already on the pathway to entering into a new body. Not just the physical, this body that you see, all around you. So I wanted to point that out there is a serious trash problem in Ohio, especially along the waterways. What do you do about it? Do you educate people and get the filth off of television for once? Do you know what? Where are these news reporters that refuse to bow down to just showing murders and accidents and all the filth that's going on within the community? Doesn't anybody care to show something that's beneficial for life in its entirety instead of trying to cast fear into everybody? Because my first impression when I came out here to Ohio is watching the news out here is pathetic. Okay, and when you get out into real life, in my opinion, okay, it's not really what they promote dominantly. It's not happening that often. However, I would tell you that in the neighborhood I live in, there's a lot going on that I'd rather not talk about right now. Which lets me know that a person wants to move in favor of the life they desire and not be trapped because of all the laws and the ways of humanity being dominated into them, having to choose. See, I wouldn't be annoying the cop over here in my swimsuit if I could have just done things in a manner that said mature for me. Okay? Because I used to love going to the mountains where I used to live, and I'd lay out naked. Because I don't like tan lines on my body. Where do I go here? Do they have a naked beach? That isn't going to be all sexual and perverse, that I can actually just enjoy my life? And do we have a place like that out here? You know? Because if I would have had my way, I would have had a beautiful home back in the mountains where I come from, and I would have been able to lay out in my yard, and if the government would have said anything about it, I would have slapped them with a lawsuit and tell them it's none of their business what I do on my property. I want to live. I want to enjoy my life. I have my own idea of life inside my head, and you didn't provide me enough space to live. You don't want me treading on your fucked up belief system, but I don't want you treading on mine. Where does God come in at a time like this and say enough of slamming my child around? Huh? Enough of the BS. A tropical beauty shouldn't be living in a litter place. Huh? This is like a landfill here with the disrespect of plowing it under the ground. Why don't we get one of those heavy equipment machine operators over here and just put it into the ground, please? Okay. There's employment there, folks. I don't know what the answer is. Do they enforce the littering fines? You know, I don't know. You tell me. Should they? I'm so grateful that my head has cleared up dramatically since the time I was here. I was very nervous to share my life story. I was nervous because it was gospel businessmen's. But can I tell you that they even made an announcement and they were saying about it because there was other women that were tending to, which made me feel a little more at ease. With that being said, sharing my life story, not because I want to slam anyone, but because this is my personal testimony and struggle and how I came to Christ, and when I started reading the Bible and went through my whole life story in a summary. About an hour, I think it was. And I am very, very grateful. And I tell you that I'm not utilizing my name, my talent, my life to promote alcoholism. Because I used to do that. And because I did it during a time that I was studying the Bible in-depthly, I would have to say that I was being condemned of what my doings, and I wanted to get away from it. Okay? That's not judging people. That is acknowledging the truth within myself. Number one, you have to confess to what's disturbing you. You have to be honest with yourself, honest with God, and know that you're worth more than that. Whatever it is that's tormenting you, you're worth more than the torment, so to speak. Is that what I heard at one time in my life? Hey kid, you're worth more than the torment. So I'm not saying the same should be for all mankind. I'm saying for myself. And to be quite honest with you, I was connecting with a human race that thinks everybody that they see on TV is more worthy of the life, circumstances that we could be entering into if they would stop comparing themselves as being less than the others. And we get busy picking up the shovel, picking up the rake. Huh? Picking up the guitar, picking up the bass, picking up the drumsticks. There's not another. God can use anyone with a willing heart if it's in their heart and they're willing to make the choice to serve their heart and not whatever's in the world. When you serve what's in the world, you already lost sight, most likely a majority of it anyway, of heart matters. I'm going to get my cell phone because I know when I walk around with a camera, it freaks people out, so I'm going to try to sneak it on when I go in this store, and if they yell at me, I'll have to leave because I don't want to argue and fight with everyone. I need a permit somehow. I need to have a permit. And there's another money thing for the government. Hey, another money gimmick. They can raise money. How is that? All you got to do we have to go to a psychologist first? And we get a note from our psychologist because we need a note for everything. You need a note by a psychologist that says, pretty much your camera is your best friend. It goes with you everywhere you go. You videotape wherever you are. And then if somebody says you can't do that, it has a legal document. It's a legal documentation. They can't tell you to turn off the camera. Whether you're pointing at them or anybody else. My eyeballs have seen it. And if my eyeballs have seen it, there's many more who have seen through my eyeballs, okay? And that's something a lot of people don't know. You get so sick of wanting to enjoy your life, and it feels like everybody else is infringing on your enjoyment. And by the way, I'm listening to pastors telling me to get your mind off yourself. That's what Joyce Myers would say. Get your mind off yourself and get it on other people. Start loving other people. Then the second day you start to love yourself, that's when there's a problem. I want to do something I want to do. I see, so we're going to definitely have problems here. So here's the thing. I had a great breakfast. I was nervous. Zod, the person I came here with, had recorded a video for me. I had the opportunity to make it. I wasn't fully developed in any way exercising because I was not adjusted to being Tracilyn at that time. I was pretty much stuck in survival mode. I was going through a lot of psychological turmoil. I was involved with the authorities. I was involved, legal matters. I was involved with going to psychiatrists, therapists, in and out of hospitals. All this is because I didn't understand how to get my needs met. This is why I don't want to pay the government for the rest of my money. If I go to work somewhere, meaning for myself or whatever, I'm not paying the government. Can't. No way. I almost died many times because they did not educate me on how to take care of myself. I think they should pay me to educate America. What are alternatives? Going and working for another man? Is that where your heart is? If you were to surrender to the truth psychologically, is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? You want to work for someone else? What about getting on with your life? You have life, you're pregnant. Chances are you're pregnant psychologically and there's life inside of your brain. You might not even be familiar with it and you feel it's impossible. Well, it's impossible if you look at the world and think, hey, the way I was taught is going to be beneficial. Why don't you listen to somebody like Joyce Myers? For a season of time, make sure you have a safety net. You can take care of yourself. Listen to her teachings, take it serious and apply it. But be careful, because if you're not careful, you might end up in turmoil. But there's a parting through the clouds. This looks like a bonsai tree, doesn't it? Bonsai. Danielson. Danielson! You must learn how to wax. On and off. Hey, Asian. Not Chinese. Welcome to the Asian spa. I'm just curious to know, is there any Dayton, Ohio police officers going in there undercover to see if there's a prostitution ring going on? Could be. Could be. Does it matter? I've made up my mind when I came here that as I get ready to make my phone calls to the establishments that I hold accountable for not educating me properly on other alternatives on how I can take care of myself in the time of an emergency situation. There's no real number to call. Who do you call? You don't call Ghostbusters. Who do you call? I told you about the suicide helpline. What did they tell me? Man, we live in a cold, cold, cold world, folks. It's something to go through, and you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking the Lord has a mighty big plan for my life, as the Bible says, and I had to first learn psychologically where to keep my focus and who to help, when to help, how to help. Don't go around as a kind person just helping anybody, unless it's for a season for you to learn. Oops, we don't do that. Because if the person who brought me here would have done that, I wouldn't know. Who would have I turned to? Nobody. I love God's government, the government that's for my life and helping me to stay alive. That's in and through everything. I love that. But I don't like the United States government because why? They're for my life like a dust particle. They could care if I live or die. They have enough other matters like cleaning up trash from waterways and stuff to make the city look a little more appropriate for intelligence when it walks in. Does anybody care anymore? Hey, intelligence is coming through. Does anybody care? But rest assured, if it was a company like at Walmart, oh, people from regional are coming down. We better get our store cleaned up. They gave us a heads up. Because they want to see it at its best. Why does regional do that? Why don't regional just surprise them whenever they feel like it and then get rid of the management that left it get sloppy? I remember when I was at Walmart, was it where I worked or was it Huber Heights? I got yelled at a few times because I didn't want to wear a mask because I don't believe the virus is real. And I believe that's a dirty, dirty birdie trick that something played on the entire human race. And I wish they would wait to do more of that stuff when I move on to heaven. I wanted to enjoy my life. And it seems to me there's a large group of something that just wants to play Lord domination over the entire human race, as many masses of them as they can. Let's make as many people as we can miserable. Miserable, breeze, miserable. I don't want to be miserable. I had to make a serious choice when I came out here, and I finally did get some kind of settlement for myself that I was not extremely happy with, but I was happy enough that I could get it going. And I had to make a serious choice out of many of them that I really cared about. One of them was finishing my transition, okay, because I have no need for my penis the way I once did. One of them was that. One of them is I want to live somewhere that I would be able to enjoy my life in balance because I can't do it the way that they tell me to. And another one was I wrote songs and I want to record them and hear them in this lifetime. I screwed up because I listened to too many people tell me stop being selfish with your life and learn to get along with people. Only there's a whole lot of other stuff missing, and what ended up happening is there's no people that I was connected to that is as able as I am, at least not in the current. So there I sit in the studio for years on my butt. That was the one thing I was trying to get away from. I wanted to be actively doing shit, not just sitting down all day, using a portion of my body. Looking at a TV, on a computer. Then you learn that there's other people truly on your computer. They can, on all your devices. And they make it very miserable for you to do things. You know, that's great for somebody who wanted to live their life. I'm all filled with life, now abuse me, okay? Please. It seems that when you're in tune with your desires and your passions and stuff, more so or not, it seems that there's a very dominant force, maybe on other planets above, that can't stand humans wanting to live their life and enjoy it. Now, what I want to know is the military I was taught to appreciate, they gave their life for us. Why don't they blow up the planets up there that are harassing us? Let's ask NASA. They've been up there and they show us images all the time of what it looks like up there. There's nothing up there. There's no signs of life. We're the only planet. Yeah, you couldn't live anywhere up there. Well, it looks like there might have been a long time ago, like Mars or something. Might be possible, right? There is some traces of possibility. But oh, this is it. And hopefully in the years to come, we'll be able to build stations up there. That's why we need your money. Meanwhile, there's how many people that are living up there? Humans? Already actively living up there? What population of it? What other life forms are up there? Are aliens real? Is the reason that they won't show themselves on our planet is because we'd kill them instantly? Because they're mean, vicious, stinky creatures who like to intrude into the minds of others and live through people and destroy their lives in their eyes? In my opinion, you can't destroy life. Whereas in that part of Christ's teachings, you can't destroy life. It's undestructible. So don't you think they're wasting their time? Are these aliens intelligent? Do they understand that life can't be destroyed? Because I think somebody should send them a smoke signal, something, a message. Why don't we make a huge TV screen and raise it up as high as we can instead of a flag. Raise the TV screen up so we can have a conversation with them and tell them what a bunch of assholes they are. You can't destroy life. You can't destroy things like joy, okay? You can't. A person's focus may be off for a while, might be in turmoil focusing on something else, but if they ever get back into it, they're healed and they're acknowledged, joy doesn't die. So after the all-you-could-eat buffet, which I love to go to events like that, and I thought myself, well, it would be awesome to travel and have meetings like that and stuff, gatherings where you get to talk and stuff, you know, and at the time, you know, kind of be available to talk about God, your walk with God, you know, reading the Bible, the things that you endured. I thought this could possibly lead off to something, you know, and I got to be concerned for myself because I don't know what else to do in my life, but I want to live, and I got to get creative because I can't live on a McDonald's salary. Did you ever hear that? Maybe today you can. Why can't you?